right.
Now listen, it's been a long afternoon, but this man just as game as they come. He gets a shot late after he throws the ball to Butch Johnson, who comes up with the game. At least he's kept them with an opportunity to win. I mentioned earlier, these babies are not over. When you're playing with great people at every position, just a quick break can turn something loose. 22 seconds. I've seen a lot of things happen in 22 seconds.
All right, Septien for the kick. It is up, and it is good. And now we'll be back for another onside kick right after this message. Winner back with 2 touchdowns. The last time they kicked off, they had the onside kick. Dennis Thurman recovered it, and they're hoping for somebody to recover it again. John Brody said this would be a high-scoring game. 66 points in this Super Bowl 13.
22 seconds on the clock. Now the clock won't start until it is touched by the receiving team. So if the Pittsburgh Steelers want to, they can almost kill this clock by getting a hold of it, or kill the clock by getting a hold of that ball and running with it. You may see them run the opposite direction.
There it goes. Another one. Pittsburgh has it. They recovered it that time. They recovered it. And that's number 20. Good old Rocky Bleier for the Steeler fans, who was right on top of it.
Now that would maybe seal a fate. In fact, probably will. All they have to do is drop on the football and it's over. And while we have another quick second, one of the reasons that we've enjoyed the coverage from the booth up here was we've had a special replay unit operating today. Mike Weissman, John Gonzalez have given you folks at home a chance to see some of the exciting play away from the football. And we should mention that they have done a great job for us this afternoon and this evening.
Terry Bradshaw, the most valuable player of the game, drops down. 20 seconds, 19. You just can't say enough for Staubach. They pat him on the back. You can't say enough for the Cowboys, way behind, coming back with 2 touchdowns. And of course the Steelers have lost only 2 games all year. They have been an awesome team with a passing attack that has been the greatest in the game this year. And their 2 wide receivers showed it today. And with Terry Bradshaw hitting over 300 yards and 4 touchdown passes.
I don't think
Tim Bradshaw goes down. And the Cowboys will come in. They look up at the clock. And it's moving along now. They're out of timeouts. The Steelers have won it. The best Super Bowl game of them all. They had a great win in Super Bowl 10. This was even better. Chuck Noll goes off. He has won his 3rd Super Bowl title. The Cowboys came back with 2 touchdowns, and there were 66 points scored. And for those that said that they don't score in Super Bowls, this one showed that they can. They want to get the final reactions from Merlin Olsen and John Brody.
John, I'd have to say that, again, it was a game of big plays. We thought that both teams would try and establish the running game, which they did. Dallas ran successfully for a brief while, and then the first half became a game of turnovers and of great catches and great passes. And of course, the Steelers got the best of that, able to take some momentum in the second half and carry it on. But the Cowboys would never quit.
Well, Merlin, I'll tell you basically the way I feel. Both quarterbacks had great games, utilized their abilities very well. I think whenever you have such a closely matched group of players, a quarterback makes a big difference. I think Bradshaw played just a little bit better today. I think he's had a great year. It's a perfect end to a guy who's taken his knocks over the years, hasn't said anything, came back, has run this club all year long, and I think every accolade he's been given is deserved.
The Steeler motto, it's been the same for many years.
Congratulations, men. A superb job. We'll have highlights. We'll get into that locker room, get the comments from the athletes who took part in today's game. We'll be right back with more of Super Sunday after these messages from your local station. So the Orange Bowl in Miami continues to be the good luck bowl for the Super Bowl. As we mentioned earlier, Game 3, that was the Jets' surprise victory over the Baltimore Colts. In 5, the most dramatic win, perhaps other than this one, when Jim O'Brien kicked the field goal to win it for Baltimore. And Game 10, Pittsburgh beat Dallas 21-17, and it's Pittsburgh again, an unprecedented 3rd Super Bowl championship. as Terry Bradshaw sets Super Bowl records. Most yardage passing, 4 touchdown passes, and Pittsburgh beats the Dallas Cowboys 35-31. Super Sunday on NBC continues, brought to you by Gillette, maker of Atra, America's original pivoting head razor. And by Canon, quality camera and photographic equipment for first-time or full-time photographers. And by the 1979 Volkswagen Rabbit and Rabbit Diesel. The Pittsburgh Steelers hold off the gallant charge of the Dallas Cowboys to win Super Bowl 13, 35-31. First time ever that a team has won 3 Super Bowls, the highest scoring Super Bowl in history. And there's the owner, Art Rooney, who waited so many years, decades, to finally get a championship. And suddenly they're coming in bouquets for Mr. Rooney, one of the most liked men in all of sport. And he's about to receive the Vince Lombardi Trophy on behalf of his Pittsburgh Steelers. He is patriarch in every sense of the word. He's the father of this franchise, and he is a father to the athletes themselves. I can't recall ever seeing so much admiration for the athletes as they have in the town of Pittsburgh for Mr. Arthur Rooney.
Yes, I do.
We have highlights before we go down into the locker room of the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah, maybe I will.
Turnovers were a key in the first half of the game. Chuck Noll, as you can see, with Pete Rozelle, the commissioner, and Mike Adamle of NBC, Mr. Rooney. And let's go now to Mike Adamle in the winner's dressing room.
Thank you very much, Dick. Well, I have to pinch myself to see if I'm awake. This is the most amazing time I've ever been involved in. It is my pleasure to introduce the commissioner of the entire National Football League, Mr. Pete Rozelle, and he's got a very special presentation to make.
Mr. Rooney, you've been in the National Football League since 1933. And during those 46 years, you've had one of the most popular families in sports. Now, of course, you become the first team to win 3 Super Bowl games. And I know that in addition to your great coach here, Chuck Noll, you must be especially proud to have 2 of your sons, Dan and Art, play such a great job on the management side to help Chuck and this great bunch of football players. Congratulations.
I want to congratulate Chuck Noll and his staff and ball players and my boy Danny and Artie. This was a great day. Thank you.
Congratulations, sir. Coach? Coach? Congratulations, sir. It's my pleasure to work in the locker room.
Good. You know, I said one thing about to our football team after the game, and I sincerely believe it. I don't think we've peaked yet. And we're looking forward to even bigger and better things.
Yeah. Okay, congratulations. Back to you, Dick.
So the Pittsburgh Steelers and the faces tell the entire story. The joy of victory. 3 Super Bowl championships. They beat the Cowboys 35-31. Much more for you, including the controversy of the second half of this Super Bowl. We'll return to the Orange Bowl in Miami right after we pause for this word. Pop the balloons at halftime to conclude the ceremonies of those festivities. And they all but popped out the lights on the scoreboard at Miami's Orange Bowl tonight. The highest scoring Super Bowl ever, 35-31. The Pittsburgh Steelers have prevailed over the Dallas Cowboys, but now without some controversy. Let's go to the fourth quarter. At the time, Pittsburgh led by only 4 points, and a drive perhaps stalling when Terry Bradshaw went long to Lynn Swann. Was this interference by number 31, Benny Barnes? They trip over each other, certainly not intentional by Barnes, but ruled a foul. Interference against the Dallas Cowboys sustains the drive. Franco Harris bolts up the middle, and that makes it 28-17 Pittsburgh. The Cowboys think they should have gotten the ball. It should have been an incomplete pass. And then this marvelous catch by Swann. Just saying his name, it rolls beautifully off your lips. And what a marvelous catch by Lynn Swann, the Baryshnikov of pro football. That made it 35-17. But the Cowboys refused to quit. Staubach hits Dupre to make it 35-24. An onside kick led to a Butch Johnson touchdown reception from Staubach, 35-31. Chuck Noll Steelers will go back to Pittsburgh with the Super Bowl rings. Their third. Now, Jackie Smith. He will wear the goat horns, but should he completely? Staubach throws to Smith wide open. Pass is low. Smith was slipping, thought he should have caught it. Tough chance. Smith does not get the touchdown, and because of that drop, Septien went for the field goal. Instead of tying the game 21-21 at the time, it was 21-17. We can do just this game time and time again. Right now, let's go back down to Mike Adamle in the Pittsburgh dressing room.
Well, Dick, I'm with the most valuable player here in Super Bowl 13, Mr. Terry Bradshaw. All I'm going to do is offer you my congratulations. I'll let quarterback Fran Tarkington ask all the questions.
All right, Mike, thank you.
Terry, it took me 18 years, but I finally made a winning Super Bowl locker room. It ain't bad.
Hey, glad to have you over.
Did you think you could throw the ball that much against the Dallas Cowboys?
Well, the one thing I didn't want to do, Fran, coming into the game was get away from the things that had brought us here. Play actions on first down, play actions on second down, throwing the ball on third down on my backs, mixing it up, just trying to really get them to think that I was going to throw the football, which I threw a lot today. I've never had success throwing against them because they do so much blitz and we've had trouble picking it up in the past. Today I had excellent line protection for the best part, especially in the first half, and we were able to come up with some big plays.
3rd and 1, 40 seconds to go in the half. You're down to about the 10 or 12 yard line. You rolled out and threw a touchdown pass to Rocky Bleier. I thought you were going to run at the time.
It was an option run pass play. It was 3rd and 1. If they come up in man coverage, I've got Rocky wide open because they have to respect the inside moves of our receivers. If they drop off in a zone, then I run with the football. They dropped off in a zone. I just stopped. They came up to support me, and Rocky slipped in behind him, and I was able to get the ball to him. He made a great catch. To be so short.
Terry, once again, congratulations. Let's go back up to Dick Enberg right now.
All right, Michael, and we'd like to remind fans that we will have the premiere of Brothers and Sisters and then Centennial seen in their entirety at the conclusion of our Super Bowl coverage. That'll mean 8:12 Eastern Time. 8:12 Eastern Time. So stay tuned, and we'll be right back. Super Bowl 13 wrap-up in just a moment.
You had two close plays go against you in the fourth period. The Jackie Smith play and the call on Benny Barnes. Let me take them one at a time. The Jackie Smith play, how did you see it?
Well, it was so wide open that Roger tried to throw the ball in soft, you know, to be sure he wouldn't miss it, and he did. He came a little short with it, and of course when Jackie tried to stop, his feet probably slipped on him, and he wasn't able to make the catch. And to me, that was a big play in that football game. And of course the interference call was another big one, which was unfortunate. Our guys, you know, played their hearts out in the game. That's the thing that disappointed me. And but even when you do that, sometimes the mistakes go against you, and you make a few plays that are bad, and that's what happens.
Did you think you were hurt early by bad tackling, particularly on the Stallworth touchdown, the long touchdown, and the Swan play on the screen?
Well, I'm sure we could have tackled better, you know, in that situation, but the great athletes have the ball, and they make great moves, and that causes bad tackling a lot of time. And those were two big plays, which you have to give them credit for. I think the interception right before the half when we were driving in to get a field goal was a key play in the ball game because it turned the momentum their way at halftime. But still, the two big plays was Jackie Smith play and then the penalty, which was, well, we'll have to judge that call on the merits of it.
Tom, you put 31 points on the board against a Pittsburgh team that was very sound, yet came up short. Do you think the better team won today?
Well, I think any time that you play two great teams on the field, either one can win the football game. I don't consider Pittsburgh any better football team than the Cowboys, working week in and week out. But today they were better because they made more big plays.
Coach Landry, thank you much. As gracious in defeat as always, as ever in victory. Let's go back to Mike Adamle in the Pittsburgh dressing room.
Okay, Brian, thank you very much. I'll take this time out to wipe myself with the terrible towel. Franco Harris, fantastic performance. Here's the play that broke the game open in the fourth quarter, 22 yards out. Describe it.
Well, Mike, it's a inside tackle trap, and I got past the line of scrimmage. They were blitzing, and all I saw from there was goal line. That's all I saw. That's all I thought about after that.
Francis?
Franco, what did you say to Henderson at that point?
Well, right before that play, I just told Tom about getting on Bradshaw. I mean, I thought the whistle blew, and I really didn't like him throwing Bradshaw down, so we just exchanged some words, and I guess both sides got fired up at that time, and on the next play, things happened.
Did you ask for the ball there on that play?
No, but I'm very happy that my play was called on that one because I guess that the thing was just at the right moment, and I was just in the right frame of mind to do it.
Franco, I'm interested in the last 2 years, your team has played well. It made the playoffs, but it wasn't as good as the Super Bowl teams of years past or this year. What turned it around for your team this year?
Well, I think we have a team that really worked hard. We have a lot of discipline, you know, like we're loose, a great personality. Just the main things about this team. You know, like you can just go on and on and on. And I really have to say that I feel the best with this team right here. Just the personality of this team. We have a bunch of champions here, and I think today it really proved it.
What do you people do for an encore?
Well, try for 4. Nobody's done that before, so we might as well be the first one to do that, too.
Okay, Franco, congratulations once again. Let's go back up to Dick Enberg.
Thanks, Mike.
So the Steelers have won 3 Super Bowls, the only team to do that. The lucky number is 13 in Miami for that Pittsburgh gang, and we'll be back at the Orange Bowl right after we pause for this word.
Okay, if you had to pick a defensive stalwart here in Super Bowl 13, you just might pick big number 76, John Banaszak, 4th-year man out of Eastern Michigan. Did you have any idea that you'd be able to play so well?
Well, I came into the game very well prepared. Both Dwight and I had studied Pat Donovan quite a bit, and we felt that we were ready for him, and we felt that we both could have a good game against him.
Francis, he didn't get a chance to play against you in one of your Super Bowls. Have you seen a performance like his before?
He was great today. Were you worried about Staubach getting outside of the pocket? Were you trying to contain him during the day?
Well, we were trying to get as much pressure on him as we could, and take whatever he gave us. If he wanted to scramble, we were going to let him scramble and try to chase him down. And I think, that's the way it happened, and I think it worked very effectively for us.
It really did. John, this is your 4th year in the league, 2 Super Bowls. What more is it for a John Banaszak, as young as you are?
I really don't know. I'm so happy now. My career could end today, and I'd go out with a smile.
John, let's take a chance to look at some of the turnovers that happened here in the game. Here, Bradshaw is hit by Thomas Henderson, and Mike Hagman makes a great play, number 58, and strips him of the ball. Mel Blount make a key interception in the first half to snuff out a Dallas rally, and then Randy White fumbled his kickoff return, and it was finally recovered by Pittsburgh and set up another Pittsburgh score. It was the story of the day. Okay, John Banaszak, once again, congratulations. Bryant Gumbel is standing by in the Cowboy locker room with Roger Staubach.
Okay, thank you, Michael. Very quickly, Roger, the play, really the crucial one in the 4th period, 21-17, throw into the end zone to Jackie Smith. What happened as you saw it?
Well, it was a play that was wide open. I tried to take a little bit off the ball and lob it in there, and the ball was a little bit low, and Jackie tried to cradle it and hit his shoulder pads. But, I threw it low, and it would have been a catch that if I would have thrown a good pass, he would have had without any question. And since he kind of slipped down, he said, and cradled the ball, and he dropped it. He feels as bad as I do because I could have thrown a better pass.
Roger, thank you much for being with us. We've got to throw it back up to the booth. Dick?
That's it, huh? Represented in this Super Bowl 13. It will be remembered as the most exciting, 35-31. But whether your bent happens to be ballet, opera, or impressionistic art, if you were a football fan or not, on this Super Bowl 13, you saw a Monet. Final 35-31 Pittsburgh.
Oh, where's that champagne?
Super Sunday on NBC has been brought to you by the 1979 Volkswagen Rabbit and Rabbit Diesel. And by Gillette, makers of foamy shave cream. It's more than thick and rich enough. And by Canon, quality camera and photographic equipment for first-time or full-time photographers.
WBZ TV, Channel 4, Boston.
That was a ball game.
I'll tell you something, fellas. You know, you guys are always getting on me about not picking anybody. What did I tell you before? The only thing I cared about was an exciting game, and finally, we've gotten one. Pittsburgh Steelers became the super team of modern-day pro football with a 35-31 victory over the defending champion Dallas Cowboys in Super Bowl XIII, one of the most exciting ever that just ended minutes ago here on TV4. Terry Bradshaw turned in one of the finest performances of his pro career, passing for 317 yards, 4 touchdowns in the biggest game of his life. It was the highest scoring and without a doubt the most exciting Super Bowl in years. Got off to a flying start. We have the wrong tape we're showing you right now, but as soon as we can find the right tape, I'll tell you, there are a whole lot of highlights that we have to see, and I'm praying that we find it. Here it is. Kickoff. Over 80,000 people in the stadium, including my brother Jeffrey, for one of the most exciting games you're going to watch. Now, you pick it up from here. The Cowboys came out, surprised a lot of people, with marked success in running with Tony Dorsett against a tough Steeler defense. TD had some big yards in the early going. But then they saw some chicanery really backfire, and the Steelers made it pay off shortly after as Terry Bradshaw found John Stallworth.
He's going to throw again. He's lobbing it deep. Stallworth! Touchdown, is it? Touchdown! Stallworth!
So the Steelers had drawn first blood, but things went sour from there. The rest of the quarter, for them to be exact. D.D. Lewis picked off a Bradshaw aerial to stop one drive, and later in the opening stanza, the Cowboys forced a key mistake. Bradshaw fumbled. Ed Too Tall Jones recovered, and minutes later, Roger Staubach did not take long to get even. He fired a lethal blast from the vaunted shotgun.
3rd and 9. And a big rush is on. He lets it go. Tony Hill at the 20. He's in. Touchdown, Tony Hill.
And just like that, the Cowboys were even and had broken the Steelers' string of scoreless first quarters. The excitement continued in the second quarter. The Cowboys jumping to a 14-7 lead when linebackers Thomas Hollywood, All-Mouth Henderson, and Tom Hegman combined to steal the ball from Bradshaw. Hegman lugged it 36 yards for a touchdown. They gave the Cowboys a short-lived advantage. Bradshaw to Stallworth again, struck like lightning.
Man, Stallworth. He's at the 40, 45, 50, 45, 40. He's gone. He's at the 20, 15, and he's in for the touchdown. No flags are down. It's a touchdown all the way, 75 yards.
New Super Bowl record, just one of many, and just before the half, the Cowboys had a drive stopped by a Mel Blount interception. Bradshaw, who passed for a new Super Bowl record of 253 yards in the first half alone, got his team in the pay dirt. The payoff was a record-setting 3rd touchdown pass.
Bradshaw throws. Touchdown. Oh, my Lord. Touchdown. Number 20, Rocky Blyer.
The sign of a great team is that it makes adjustments at the half. Both the Steelers and Cowboys made moves that came to light in the third quarter. The hitting intensified, but it was the Cowboys that got the only points of the quarter. Jackie Smith had the dubious distinction of his 17-year career, dropping a short touchdown, a very critical miscue, so the Cowboys had to settle for a field goal, 21-17 after 3. Franco Harris's run made it 28-17, and Swan and Bradshaw added the pièce de résistance.
He's going to throw. He heaves it. Swan, touchdown.
The Cowboys came up with 2 touchdowns in the final minutes to make it a wild finish, but in the end, it was the Steelers. And the wild celebration. Yeah, I like that. Final again, 35-31, so the Steelers become the first team to win the Super Bowl 3 times. And the man that was primarily responsible for that feat, quarterback Terry Bradshaw, finally sheds his moniker as a dumb quarterback. He talked about his performance that won him the Most Valuable Player award afterwards.
Well, the one thing I didn't want to do, Fran, coming into the game was get away from the things that had brought us here. Play actions on first down, play actions on second down, throwing the ball on third down on my backs, mixing it up, just trying to really get them to think that I was going to throw the football, which I threw a lot today. I've never had success throwing against them because they do so much blitz and we've had trouble picking it up in the past. Today I had excellent line protection for the best part, especially in the first half, and we were able to come up with some big plays.
Bill, after a mournful procession of Super Bowls, each seemingly more doleful than the one before, the Pittsburgh Steelers and Dallas Cowboys put on an exhibition of daring, wild, and woolly football in Miami that clearly marked them as the two best clubs in the NFL. They set Super Bowl records for points scored, for touchdowns, and Terry Bradshaw, the Pittsburgh quarterback, set Super Bowl records with 4 touchdown passes and 317 yards gained passing, both career highs for him. He got the game's first touchdown on a 28-yard pass to John Stallworth, who ignored 2 behemoths to port and starboard. Roger Staubach had 3 touchdown passes, Tony Hill helping him get the Cowboys even in the first period with a little cakewalk down the sideline. Dallas went ahead in the second quarter when Bradshaw muffed the ball and recovered it, only to encounter Thomas Henderson, who engaged him while Mike Hegman stole the ball and ran away from everybody. The Steelers got even on a play classic in its beauty. Bradshaw looking for Stallworth, finding him, Stallworth looking for his blockers, finding them, using them, and legging it in like a kid late for school. The Steelers went into halftime with a 21-14 lead. After Staubach had been intercepted, Bradshaw completed a 56-yard scoring drive with a fancy little alley-oop flip to Rocky Blyer. Dallas blew a tie in the third quarter when 39-year-old Jackie Smith, given a reprieve this season by the Cowboys, had the tying touchdown in his hands and dropped it. The key play leading to the next Steelers score was a defensive interference call on Cowboy Benny Barnes, called for tripping Lynn Swann, which he did, but apparently not before Swann had knocked him down. Given a life, Pittsburgh scored the game's only ground touchdown by Franco Harris from 22 yards out. And when the Cowboys fumbled the kickoff and Bradshaw hit Swann to make it 35-17, the rout was on. But Dallas did not quit. Staubach found Billy Joe Dupree, who survived a bulldogging, to make it 35-24. Dallas recovered an onside kick, and Staubach hit Butch Johnson. Suddenly it was 35-31, but there were only 22 seconds left. And the only guy who could help the Cowboys now, Frank Merriwell, never turned pro. The Steelers didn't need Merriwell. They had Bradshaw by acclamation, the game's most valuable player. And far from Miami, in the ice-crusted streets of Pittsburgh, revelers threaded their way through police barricades to cheer their heroes. Police had turned out 500 strong with dogs and riot gear to prevent any over-exuberance. But the exuberance was well within the guidelines of modern idolatry. 56 drunks were arrested. The only violence attributable to the Super Bowl happened in Louisville, where Raymond Wilson, denied admission to a party in a saloon where the game was being televised, returned with a submachine gun and, according to police, opened fire from outside the bar. One man was killed, another is reported in serious condition with a back wound, and a woman is in stable condition with a wound in the hip.
Now 35 minutes after the hour.
College chaos.
With brothers
and sisters. It's about a frat house and a sorority house that turns into a madhouse.
How did you dumb suckers ever get to college?
See Brothers and Sisters, Super Bowl Sunday on NBC.
Evening Magazine starts a super weekend next with Superman star Christopher Reeve. Plus, we'll spend an exciting day with a ski patrolman next here on TV4's Evening Magazine.
Traffic on the Southern Titanium is often a problem. In Boston, it's Skyway Patrol on HDH Radio 85.
If I watch Channel 4 News at 6, I still want to watch it at 11 o'clock.
I'm heading home. I got to see Bruce Regular and find out what this is going to turn into.
At 11 o'clock, I'm the last word that people get on the weather.
Dan Ray in the Instant Eye, because it's live and happening right now.
I'm part of what makes Eyewitness News at 11 a lot different from Eyewitness News at 6.
There's a lot happening between 6 and 11 o'clock in New England.
We ought to know. It's our job to cover it.
People have problems, and our job is to report those and the solutions to the problems.
Every time you make a purchase, you're voting for a product, and I want you to take that vote seriously.
Sharon King has made me a much better consumer. I think the best thing that Bruce ever did for us is save money last year on our heat.
I put in a wood stove myself, trying to show other people in New England how to save a few bucks on energy.
I think we feel a great responsibility that people look to us to help solve problems.
Yeah.
Unification Church Part 2, tonight at 8.
Center. We're at the Sugarbush ski area in Warren, Vermont. Chances are, if you're ever involved in a skiing accident, either on the mountain or on a lift, you'll be helped within minutes by a member of the Ski Patrol. This evening, we're going to spend some time with members of the Ski Patrol here. We'll see what they do to handle emergency situations, and we'll give you some good information about skiing more safely.
Hello, I'm Robin Young, and if you're going skiing this weekend, you'll have a better idea of what those guys on the patrol do, and you might have some better ideas in general after our departments, because first of all, Linda Harris is going to be taking you out to the Hart Nautical Museum this evening. That's here in Cambridge. She'll take a look at that. And then Maggie Letwin will show us how to get the maximum exercise benefits from jumping rope, which is a good winter exercise when you can't go running. Joyce Gilhaywick will show us a new winter activity. This one's called ski bobbing, and that's a lot of fun. And then we'll meet a young man named Christopher Reeve. Now, he's becoming very well known to a lot of people because everyone's flocking to see the film Superman. Well, Christopher Reeve is the new Superman. We'll find out why this evening when people are calling him Superman off the screen as well. But first, let's go back to Marty.
Perhaps the most common emergency that the ski patrolman faces is one that we're going to simulate. We're going to pretend that I've had a bad fall and broken my fibula, which is the backbone of my leg, at the top of my boot. So I'm going to lay here in considerable imitated pain and see what the ski patrolmen do for me. Ah!
Hello, Patrol. Yeah, I'd like to report an injury about halfway down Spring Fling. It's a male. He's wearing a brown jacket and jeans. He's holding his knee.
Okay, what's your name?
Marty.
Marty? I'm Dennis. Hey, what's wrong, Marty?
Dennis, I fell, and I twisted when I fell, and it hurts right at the top here with a